Welcome back, Throne family. Today, we will be honoring some of the most influential Black leaders of all time, the warriors who changed history and made it possible for us today. Quick disclaimer, this list is not in any specific order. My mission with this channel is to uplift and strengthen the community. Before we get into these incredible stories, if you want to be a part of the kingdom, smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and drop a comment about which leader inspires you the most. This isn't just a list, y'all. This is our history. This is our legacy. This is us reclaiming the throne. First up, we got Nelson Mandela. Born in 1918 in a small village in South Africa, Mandela grew up in a country where racial segregation, known as apartheid, was deeply ingrained in the system. From a young age, he was drawn to activism, eventually joining the African National Congress, or ANC, to fight against racial injustice. In 1962, Mandela was arrested and sentenced to life in prison for his resistance against the government, spending 27 years behind bars, most of them on the infamous Robben Island. Even in prison, he remained a symbol of hope, inspiring millions around the world to stand up against oppression. Then in 1990, after decades of international pressure and resistance from within South Africa, Mandela was finally released. Just 4 years later, he made history as South Africa's first Black president, leading the country into a new era of democracy. Despite everything he endured, Mandela preached forgiveness, reconciliation, and unity, proving that true leadership is about bringing people together, not dividing them. He ended apartheid with peace, love, and understanding. His legacy still stands strong today, reminding us that no matter how tough the battle, perseverance and justice will always win in the end. Mandela said, "There is no passion in playing small." Next up, we got the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a man whose words didn't just echo through history, they ignited movements, inspired millions, and reshaped the future of a divided nation. We've all heard the iconic "I Have a Dream" speech, a powerful call for equality that still resonates to this day. But Martin Luther King Jr. was far more than just a powerful speaker. He was a strategist, a leader, and the driving force behind a revolution. He fearlessly took on segregation and injustice, standing against a system designed to oppress. Using the power of his words and unwavering commitment to nonviolence, he challenged an entire nation to change. King spearheaded the Montgomery bus boycott, led the Birmingham campaign, and organized the historic March on Washington, each a pivotal moment in the fight for civil rights. Every single day, he put his life on the line, risking everything to fight for equality, justice, and a future where all people could stand as equals. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy is more than just the battles he fought. It's in the vision he left behind, one where equality, justice, and love triumph over hate and division. His words continue to inspire, and his fight reminds us that while progress takes time, change is always possible when we stand together. Born into slavery in 1822, Tubman's early life was marked by hardship and brutality, but it never crushed her spirit. She escaped slavery in 1849, making a daring journey to freedom in the North. But instead of settling into a life of peace, she chose to return, again and again, to lead others to safety through the Underground Railroad. Tubman became a conductor on the railroad, guiding over 300 enslaved people to freedom, risking her own life each time, showing unparalleled courage and resilience. Despite the incredible danger, she never lost a passenger, earning her the nickname Moses for leading her people to freedom. But her work didn't stop there. During the Civil War, she worked as a nurse, spy, and even led a military raid that freed hundreds of enslaved people in South Carolina. Harriet Tubman's bravery wasn't just in what she did, but in how she did it. Against the odds, she lived her life not for herself, but for the freedom and dignity of others. Her legacy stands as a beacon of hope, showing us that even in the darkest times, one person's courage can change the world. Born in 1924 in Harlem, Baldwin grew up in a world shaped by racial tension and inequality. But instead of accepting the status quo, he used his pen as a weapon for change. Baldwin's writing broke down the complexities of race, identity, and the human experience in a way that forced people to confront uncomfortable truths. His powerful works like Go Tell It on the Mountain, Notes of a Native Son, and The Fire. Next Time not only defined his era, but continue to resonate today. With unmatched eloquence and clarity, Baldwin brought attention to the struggles of Black Americans, shining a light on the social and emotional toll of racism in ways that were raw, real, and deeply personal. Beyond his books, Baldwin became a prominent figure in the civil rights movement, using his platform to speak out against systemic racism, police brutality, and the deep divisions in American society. He was a master of language, a truth teller who didn't sugarcoat or shy away from the harsh realities of the world. yet still believed in the power of love and human connection to overcome hate. Baldwin's words have stood the test of time, offering timeless insights into the human condition while pushing for societal change. His legacy is not just in his writing, but in the conversations he sparked, and the doors he opened for future generations of writers and activists. Next. My personal favorite leader, Malcolm X, man. This brother was a force of nature. Born Malcolm Little in 1925, his early life was shaped by violence, tragedy, and racism. His father was murdered when he was just a child, and his mother was institutionalized, leaving him to face a harsh world of discrimination. In his younger years, Malcolm fell into a life of crime, but it was in prison that he found his true calling. It was here that he discovered the Nation of Islam and transformed his life, adopting the name Malcolm X, rejecting his former identity and embracing a new sense of purpose. Malcolm quickly rose to prominence as a powerful voice for Black empowerment, demanding respect and equality through pride in one's heritage and an uncompromising stance against oppression. His fiery rhetoric and unapologetic stance on Black self-defense contrasted sharply with the more non-violent approach of Martin Luther King Jr., making Malcolm a polarizing figure in the civil rights movement. But Malcolm's views evolved. After a transformative pilgrimage to Mecca, he embraced a more inclusive vision, understanding that the fight for equality wasn't just about race, it was about humanity. Despite his assassination in 1965, Malcolm X's influence is still felt today. His legacy continues to inspire those fighting for justice, equality, and the strength to stand up against systemic oppression. Malcolm X's journey from a troubled youth to a revolutionary leader reminds us that personal transformation and a commitment to truth can change not only an individual life, but the course of history itself. Up next, we have the woman whose quiet courage ignited a movement, Rosa Parks. Born in 1913 in Alabama, Rosa Parks grew up in a segregated South where racism was deeply embedded in every aspect of daily life. On December 1, 1955, Parks made a decision that would change the course of history. When asked to give up her seat on a segregated bus in Montgomery, Alabama, she refused, not out of defiance, but out of quiet, dignified resistance against an unjust system. Her arrest sparked the Montgomery bus boycott, a 381-day movement led by a young Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., marking one of the first major actions in the civil rights movement. Parks became known as the mother of the civil rights movement, but her contribution was not just in that single act of defiance. She had been active in fighting for civil rights long before that day, working as a secretary for the NAACP and organizing efforts to challenge racial injustice. Her simple act of courage sparked a national movement, demonstrating that sometimes the smallest acts of resistance can lead to the most powerful waves of change. Rosa Parks showed the world that one individual standing firm in the face of injustice could ignite the fire of collective action, and that true strength often comes in quiet resolve. Her legacy is a testament to the power of standing up not with force but with dignity and courage against a system that devalues human rights. Next up, another powerhouse Black woman, Miss Maya Angelou. Born in 1928 in St. Louis, Missouri, Angelou faced immense hardship from a young age, including being sent to live with her grandmother in Arkansas after being raped by her mother's boyfriend. Her voice was silenced for years, as she believed her words caused the man's death, but she eventually found healing through literature, poetry, and music. Angelou's words transcended pain, giving voice to the voiceless. She's best known for her autobiographical work, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, which chronicles her early life and experiences with racism, trauma, and resilience. As a writer, Angelou wasn't confined to one genre. Her poems, plays, essays, and memoirs explored themes of identity, strength, and the beauty of Black womanhood. Her poem, Still I Rise, remains one of the most powerful declarations of defiance and self-love ever written. Beyond her writing, Angelou was a passionate civil rights activist, working alongside both Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and later becoming a voice for marginalized communities through her work with organizations like the Harlem Writers Guild. She didn't just speak of freedom and dignity, she lived them, using her platform to champion the rights of Black people, women, and the oppressed everywhere. Maya Angelou's legacy is built on her unwavering commitment to truth, healing, and humanity. Her words continue to inspire us to rise above adversity and embrace the power within ourselves to change the world. Next, we have the one and only Muhammad Ali. Born Cassius Clay in 1942 in Louisville, Kentucky, Ali was introduced to boxing at the age of 12, but little did the world know he was destined to become one of the greatest athletes and cultural icons of all time. Ali's rise to fame came with an unmatched combination of skill, speed, and charisma. He famously claimed, "I am the greatest," and backed up that statement with every fight, becoming a 3-time world heavyweight champion. But Ali's impact went beyond the boxing ring. His refusal to be drafted into the Vietnam War, citing his religious beliefs and opposition to the war, was a bold stand for civil rights and social justice. He was stripped of his boxing titles and banned from the sport for several years, but he never wavered in his conviction. Through the 1960s and 1970s, Ali's name became synonymous with resistance, confidence, and unapologetic defiance. His battles in the ring were as legendary as his battles for personal and political freedom, inspiring millions to stand firm in their beliefs and fight for what they know is right. Ali wasn't just an athlete. He was a global symbol of perseverance, courage, and the power of self-belief. His fights, like the fight of the century against Joe Frazier and the rumble in the jungle against George Foreman, are etched in history as moments of pure sporting brilliance. Even after his retirement, Ali's legacy endured as he continued to fight for justice and peace, using his platform to advocate for the marginalized and stand against oppression. Muhammad Ali's legacy teaches us that greatness isn't just about winning. It's about having the courage to stand up for what you believe in, no matter the cost. Next, Marcus Garvey, y'all. This brother was a visionary, a leader who dared to dream of a united and empowered Africa. Born in 1887 in Jamaica, Garvey was a visionary and one of the most influential leaders in Black history. From a young age, he recognized the need for empowerment and unity among people of African descent worldwide. Garvey founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association, UNIA, which advocated for Black self-determination, pride, and a return to Africa. His message resonated with millions, inspiring a sense of cultural pride and promoting the idea that Black people could, and should, build their own economic and social institutions. Through his leadership, Garvey launched the Black Star Line, a shipping company aimed at facilitating trade and transportation between African Americans and Africa, a symbol of economic independence and Pan-African unity. Garvey's fiery rhetoric and bold ideas made him a controversial figure. While many admired him, others criticized him for his perceived radicalism. Yet his message of Black pride, unity, and self-reliance was groundbreaking and laid the foundation for future movements like the Civil Rights Movement and the Black Power movement. Although his efforts were often undermined and he faced legal challenges, including imprisonment in the U.S., Garvey's influence cannot be overstated. He was a trailblazer who sparked global conversations about race, identity, and the power of Black communities. His legacy continues to inspire generations to embrace their heritage, fight for their rights, and understand that the struggle for freedom is a global cause, one that transcends borders and unites all people of African descent. Lastly, we have Fred Hampton. Born in 1948 in Chicago, Fred Hampton was a charismatic and fearless leader who rose to prominence as the chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party. At just 21 years old, Hampton became known for his ability to unite people from all walks of life. He understood that true change required solidarity, and he worked tirelessly to bridge divides between Black and poor white communities, forming coalitions like the Rainbow Coalition to combat systemic oppression. Hampton wasn't just a political leader, he was a community organizer who fought for free breakfast programs, educational opportunities, and health care for the underserved. His vision was one of empowerment, social justice, and a radical rethinking of what it meant to fight for freedom. Unfortunately, Hampton's rise was cut short. In December 1969, he was assassinated by the FBI in a raid, orchestrated by COINTELPRO, an illegal surveillance program aimed at undermining civil rights activists. Despite being only 21, Hampton's death sent shockwaves through the country, symbolizing the government's deep fear of radical Black leadership. Fred Hampton's legacy lives on in the work of those who continue to fight for racial justice, equality, and economic empowerment. His life serves as a reminder of the price many leaders pay for challenging the status quo and the continued need for activism and unity in the struggle for freedom. A throne family, this is our history, this is our power. We come from a long line of kings and queens, warriors and revolutionaries who fought for our right to be free, to be heard, to be respected. Let their stories inspire you to tap into your own greatness, to use your voice, your talents, your platform to make a difference in the world. Don't forget, subscribe to Reclaiming the Throne, share this video with everyone you know, and keep learning, keep growing. Let's keep the legacy of these trailblazers alive by continuing their fight for justice, equality, and liberation.